All right, y'all. So we now arrive at one of my favorite parts of film editing, and that is the addition of transitions into our work. Transitions they offer just a ton of creative possibilities to you, and frankly, this is the point in the point in the process where a lot of the visual elements that we have compiled to this point, where they actually begin to look and feel a little bit like a film. Now, in its present state, the work that I've put together, this sequence here, if we move the blue navigation marker around, as we can see right now, we're just kind of jumping from one video clip to another. All right, so we want to try and smooth that out a little bit. We want this to be something that is pleasant, that has a certain narrative flow to it. All right. So the way how you're going to do it is like this. This video clip right here, originally I was using it as B-roll to overlay on top of this video clip right here. I've reintroduced it back into this clip as A-roll. Because one of the things that you can do with transitions is it's not just a chance to have a little bit of creative fun, but it can also add thematic significance to your work. All right, so let's say, for example, this clip right here, it's a brief bit of footage of a quiet street in Clemson. A couple of cars passing by, really not a whole lot of activity there, and immediately we jump into the next clip, which is of a much busier street. And let's say that I'm trying to put a transition in here that's going to create a connection between these two clips. Maybe I'm trying to make some sort of a statement about how Clemson has transformed from a small, quiet, prototypical college town into a place that's much busier and much more populous than it ever has been. So transitions are a really good, quick, easy, but very effective way of doing that. So let's go ahead and take a look at one of them. We're going to go ahead over here to our effects controls, and when you get in here, you're going to click on transitions, and Rush is going to give you a good number of options to choose from. So you want to take a look around at some of these, experiment with them a little bit, and see which ones you want to use. They're going to complement the narrative that you are trying to construct. Now, in my case, I have a couple here that are kind of my standbys, like they're my go-to favorites. Again, I'm trying to establish a connection between these two images here. So a transition that I may try, and one that I've used very often before, is dissolve. And for adding a transition, it's a very simple process. You are simply going to click it, drag it where you want it to be located, and we can see we have that thin orange highlighted bar right there. That lets us know that there is a transition effect that has been added. Let's go ahead and see what that looks like now.
And text to assist you. And all of the elements of your video should...
All right, so yeah, definitely looks better. We're getting closer to that movie-like quality, but you can still edit it to your liking to achieve the look and flow that you see fit. All right. A couple of ways that you can do that is one is you can alter the duration of your transition, how long it takes to unfold. The ways how you can do that are up here. You can simply take your cursor, move this around a little bit, and then increase the duration. If you know exactly how long you want the duration to take, you can simply type it in over here. I personally do not like to do it that way. It feels a little bit too much like a guessing game for me. I simply like to take the cursor, play around with it a little bit until I think I've got it just right. And the other thing that you can do is you can take your cursor and you can edit the transition by simply clicking and dragging the edges of it and expanding it or condensing it. And the other thing that you can do as well is this, is when you place transitions in your timeline, Rush is automatically going to default them so that the transition is split evenly between the first clip and the preceding one, and the succeeding one. All right, so you can also move the transition around a little bit simply by clicking on it directly and repositioning it a little bit. Maybe I want the transition to be a little bit more gradual on this clip and then transition suddenly into this one. Same thing, vice versa. Maybe if I want to leave this video quickly and then have a slower build up to this scene right here. So you can certainly manipulate it based on what you are trying to achieve at that moment. All right, so very, very easy. And again, plenty of options as far as your transitions. You just have to take a look through them and see which one is going to work best for you. Now, having said that, there are moments when it can be a little bit tricky in terms of adding your transitions because you may be using overlaid images like this one right here. We have our B-roll footage laid on top of the A-roll. We've used the cropping feature to achieve a little bit of a split screen look here. So let's say that we're trying to create a transition going from this initial opening shot, this wide angle shot, into this shot here, which is where we really begin to achieve a narrative effect. We start to tell that story. Let's go ahead and let's add a transition in there. Let's go ahead and do, I'll tell you what, let's do a dip to black, which is a little bit of a harder transition. Again, different transitions can achieve different things. The dissolve is really good if you're trying to, once again, establish some kind of a connection, some kind of a narrative flow between your clips. Dip to black is really signaling that you're moving on to a new idea. Like, you think about your filmmaking in the same vein as writing, and filmmaking is, of course, its own form of composition. All right, but you think of dip to black in terms of like it's sort of the film editing version of ending a paragraph or a chapter. All right, so let's go ahead and let's play that transition. I'll tell you what, I'm going to go ahead and elongate it a little bit. I don't like my transitions to happen in the blink of an eye. I want them to be a little bit more gradual, a little bit more pleasant to behold. Let's go ahead and see what that looks like. All right, so it's not terrible, but it's a little bit clunky because obviously we've got the transition here, but then this image, the clip of the clip of the wide open space, it just kind of appears. Okay, so what you want to do in a case like this is that if you got one image placed over top of another, you want to make sure that you're adding a transition to both of them, all right? And because this is going to require you to get in there and really customize it, go ahead, use that zoom navigation tool, give yourself that expanded view that we keep talking about. All right, and obviously I did a dip to black here, so we want to do the same transition up top. I'm not trying to have it be disjointed. I'm looking for continuity. And we're simply going to use our cursor. We're going to condense that transition until it is parallel with the ending of this one right here. That way we don't have one image that pops up and then we're waiting for the other one. And we're going to go ahead. Let's move this here a little bit. Once again, aiming for continuity. I want the transition to occur at the same time for this clip and this clip here. So let's go ahead and play. Well, I'll tell you what. I'm going to elongate that a little bit again. Want to have that a little bit more of a gradual feel. Let's go ahead and play this back. Let's see how it looks now. Much better. All right, so we've got that smooth transition, and it is occurring for both of those images at the same time, so it does not look disjointed. Once again, this is all about achieving that smoother feel that's going to help you create something that has that true cinematic quality to it.